Good morning, students. I welcome back you all to this mathematics class. And today we are going to start chapter 2 of class 12th mathematics. That is inverse trigonometric functions. Now to move further about the inverse functions, we should be very clear about our concepts of invertible functions. What are invertible functions? Invertible function means any such function whose inverse exists. So now what is the condition for a function to be invertible? The condition for a function to be invertible is that a function should be 1 1 and onto both. And on the other hand, if a function is 1 1 and onto both, then it is invertible. So we have, if a function f is invertible, then f must be 1 1 and onto, and the converse is also true. That is, if f is 1 1 and onto, then it must be invertible. So we should now know it very carefully that if we want to talk about the inverse trigonometric function, so inverse of any trigonometric function will exist only if the trigonometric functions will be 1 1 and onto. Suppose if the function is not 1 1 and onto, then we have to uh, do something to its domain. We have to restrict its domain to make it. We have to make it 1 1 and onto somehow. So let us see that how can I make a function to be 1 1 and onto if it is not. So we have to examine the bijectivity or 1 1 and ontoness of trigonometric functions one by one. Now students, as you can see, this is graph of sine function. What you are watching? You are watching graph of a sine function. So what do you observe in this graph? So let us study this graph. So as you can see, whenever we are making the graph of any function, as we are doing here, that function is sine function, and what is the domain of this sine function? The domain of this sine function is the whole real line, and its range is going to be the closed interval -1 to 1. So let us study what does this mean. As you can see, domain of any function, it is always on x-axis, and codomain and range, they are always on y-axis. So that means we are going to give points to the function fx equal to sine x. We are going to assign x some real numbers, and in turn we shall be getting the values of sine x. So let us study. If I take x to be 0, fx means sine x, that is sine 0 comes out to be 0. So that means this is one point on the function. Okay, if I take x to be pi by 4, fx will be sine pi by 4, and that is going to be 1 by root 2. That will be some point here. Similarly, if I take x to be pi by 2, then sine x will be sine pi by 2, which is 1. So the value will be here. Similarly, if you take sine to be pi minus pi by 4, that is 3 pi by 4, and you find out sine 3 pi by 4, it will again come out to be 1 by root 2, that is you will get a point here. And if you take sine pi, if you take x to be pi, sine pi will be 0. So you can see how we have plotted this curve. You can see this portion of the curve. I color it green. I have shown you how we have plotted this portion of the curve. So now similarly with other values, we can plot the other portion of the curve. If I take the values from pi to 2 pi, I will be getting this portion of the curve, and so on. So what I am going to study in this curve is, because our purpose is not to draw the curve but to study what are the properties of this sine curve. So what I see is in this sine curve that if I take x to be 0, then sine x will be 0. If I take x to be pi, here also sine x is 0. X is 2 pi, then sine 2 pi is 0, x is 3 pi, sine 3 pi is 0. So for many values, sine function is giving you the same image. For sine 0, you have got the same image 0, sine pi is 0, sine 2 pi is 0, sine 3 pi is 0. So for many such points, you are getting the same image. So now students, from the curve I have observed that sine 0 is 0, sine pi is 0, sine 2 pi is 0, sine 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, all sine pi's are 0. So in general I can say that sine n pi is 0 where n belongs to the set of integers. Now let us discuss the sine curve at other points also. Now students, consider sine pi by 2. As you can see, pi by 2 is this point on x-axis. Pi by 2 is this point on x-axis. Pi by 2 is actually a real number only in radians. And for the corresponding value of sin x is 1. Now if you consider this point, which is 5 pi by 2, you can see that at this point also the value of sin x is 1. Now here if you continue and if you take the point 9 pi by 2, at that also you will see the value of sin x is 1. Similarly, you can see that if you take this point, which is 3 pi by 2, x 3 pi by 2, at this point the value of sine curve is minus 1. And if you take this sine number, which is 7 pi by 2, at this point the value of sine curve is minus 1. So let us list all these values. So students, we observe that sine pi by 2 is 1 and sine 5 pi by 2 is also 1, sine 9 pi by 2 is also 1. Also we observe that sine 3 pi by 2 is minus 1, sine 7 pi by 2 is also minus 1, sine 11 pi by 2 is minus 1, and it continues, and this also continues, and this also continues. So this is not stopping at this point. So we get to know from here is that at infinite many points sine curve has got the same value. Now if we want to understand in terms of functions, so let these two ovals, they represent the domain and range of sine function. Let this is the set of real numbers and let this is the closed interval -1 to 1 and f is the function. What is the function? Fx is a function, fx is equal to sine x. So let us see at what all points it is giving us what all values. So we know, we have already discussed that sine at pi by 2 gives you 1. So the image of pi by 2 is 1. Sine at 5 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2 at all, it gives you 1. Also we have seen that sine at 3 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, 11 pi by 2, etc. At all these points, the image of sine function comes out to be -1. Also we have seen that at all pi's, be it 0 pi, 0, 3 pi, 2 pi or whatever, all n pi's. At all these pi's, the value of sine function is coming out to be 0. Now by looking at this figure or any other way, now what do you conclude about the nature of sine function? We can see the distinct points here. These are all distinct points. These are all distinct points, but they have got same image. These are all distinct points, but they have got same image. These are all distinct points and there are innumerous of them and they have got same image. So what do we conclude? We conclude that sine x is not a 1-1 function. So once it is not a 1-1 function, how can we talk about the inverse of sine? Because we are going to study inverse trigonometric functions. So inverse trigonometric functions will be defined from trigonometric functions. So that means if a function is not 1-1, we cannot define its inverse. But yes, we do see that sine function is onto. Why it is onto? You can see that no point in the interval -1 to 1 will be left. It has got all values. It is covering all values. So it is an onto function. So what should we do to make this function 1-1 so that we can talk about its inverse? Now I can show you here why this function is onto, because you can see if you consider this line, so this to understand the ontoness of the function, you can see that between -1 on y-axis, this is -1 on y-axis, and between +1 and -1, all the points are assumed 1. All the points between -1 and 1 have been taken as values by the sine function at least once and more than once. So you can see, if you take this point, it has got many values. If you take this point, it has got many values. So any point you take between -1 and 1, it has got many values. Many values are giving you the value range that is lying between -1 and 1. So no point of the range -1 to 1 has been left uncovered. So the function is already onto. Now we have to see that how can we make this function 1. If I take, say, this point on the curve, this is assumed at this value. This value I am talking about, if I am talking about this value of y-axis, it is assumed at this point, at this point, at this point, and at so many points of x-axis. So that means if it would not have been got by so many points, then the function would have become 1 1. If I would have been able to get this value of y only at one value of x, not more than one value of x, then the function would have become 1 1. So what I could have done, if I would have left the function only this much, you can see this green portion. If I would have restricted the function to only this much, that means no value of the curve is repeated at any point, then the function would have become 1 1. Or if I could have restricted the function only to this much, then also it would have become 1 1. If or I to any of the branch, if I could have restricted the function, it would have become 1 1. So what we have done, how can we make the function 1 1? We can make the function 1 1 by restricting its domain. So let us see to which all intervals can we restrict the domain. You can see, if you restrict the domain to this green portion, as you can see, this green portion, this domain is between the closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So if you do that, the function becomes 1 1. Okay, and similarly you can similarly, if you could have restricted the domain to this pink portion, now you can see, if we restrict the domain from minus pi by 2, you can see this green curve, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Then all the values on the y-axis are occurring only once. Or if we restrict the domain from pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2, you can see this pink portion. Then also the all values of y-axis, they are occurring only once. So you can see these different branches in different colors. This branch, this pink color branch, this is from pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2. So I can take this interval also. Now this branch, this green one here, this one is from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. You can see it here. Now this one, the blue one, as you can see here, this is 3 pi by uh, this is 3 pi by 2 to say 5 pi by 2. So this point is 5 pi by 2. So you can restrict the branch to 3 pi by 2 to 5 pi by 2 and so on. So you can see that these different small intervals, if we take only one of them and restrict the domain of sine x to any one of them, then the sine function becomes a 1 1 function. As you can see, this is the on the you can see, we can highlight this, since the domain of the sine function is the set of real numbers and range is the closed interval. If we restrict the domain either to this interval or to this interval or to this and so many, then the function is 1 1 and it is already onto. Its range is -1 to 1. So the question is now, to which domain are we going to restrict the interval? So it was accepted that if we are going to restrict the domain to this interval, it could be any, but this was decided. So this was called the that branch of the sin x function which lie in this branch, inverse function, that will be called principal value branch. Whereas the other intervals, if you take any other interval as range, then that will give you different branches of sine inverse function. Now let us see how can we define the sine inverse function. So if the fx is sine function and fx its domain instead of r, now the domain has become either this, then it is 1 1, or this, then it is 1 1, or this, then it is 1 1. But this has been taken, if this is the domain, then the branch that we are going to get of inverse function will be called principal value branch. So if we restrict the domain to this branch, if we restrict the domain to this interval, then we say that now the sine function is 1 1 and on. So now we can say fx is 1 1 and on. Now this should be clear that we could have restricted to any of the above branches, but it was decided, it was accepted that the branch that will lie, the branch of sine inverse x that will lie in this interval will be called principal value branch. Now the function is 1 1 and onto. Now since the function is 1 1 and onto, we can talk about its inverse. So now we define the inverse function. Fx is the sine function. This is the sine function. So now we define sine inverse function, and that sine inverse function acts upon x from minus 1 1 to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. And this is how we get to know that how do we define sine inverse function by restricting the domain of sine function. So now you can see that fx is a function. It was a function from minus pi by 2 to minus 1 1, where fx was the sine function, and this function fx is 1 1 and onto, because we have restricted its domain to one of the intervals minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Now we have to define the inverse function of this fx, which is sine inverse function. So sine inverse function will be defined in a reverse manner. Sine was defined from here to here, and inverse will be defined from here to here. So we have defined inverse function from minus 1 1 to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. And now there are two important rules. What are that? That sine of sine inverse x will be x, and sine inverse of sin x will also be x, but they are not same. There are different conditions upon x which are to be followed for this and for this. Now you can see here that here on x sine inverse function is working. So that means x should be in the domain of sine inverse function. Now what is domain of sine inverse function? As you can see, the domain of sine inverse function is this. That is why we are saying x should be between minus 1 to 1 if it has to satisfy this equality. Now let us come upon this one. Now you see here sine inverse of sine x is x. Here sine function is acting upon x. So x should be in domain of sine function. What is domain of sine function? Minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. This is the domain of sine function, and therefore x should be between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 for this rule to become true. Now students, you can compare the graphs of sine function and sine inverse function. As you can see here, that this is the graph of sine x and this is the graph of sine inverse x. In sine x, as you had seen that whatever was there on x-axis, the radians, now they are on y-axis for sine inverse x. For sine x, you had shown the radians on x-axis. Now for sine inverse, you will be showing the radians on y-axis. For sine x, you had shown the range minus 1 to 1 on y-axis. Now for sine inverse function, range, now it is domain, it is on x-axis. Now you can see that if you invert this, if you rotate this sine function by 90 degree, you are going to get this sine inverse function. And this branch, as you can see here, this one which has been colored in red, this is the principal value branch of sine inverse function. And also we are going to get sine inverse function only if we keep the restrict the domain either to this branch or to this one or to this one, any single branch. So you can see the sine inverse function is also has been shown for all the different branches. Now this figure, look at this figure. This figure is showing you the sine curve and the sine inverse curve both on the same Cartesian plane. You can see this horizontal curve. This horizontal curve is the curve of sine function, and you can see this vertical curve. This is the curve of sine inverse function. Now if you draw the line y is equal to x, so you can see that you are going to get the mirror images of the curves with respect to the line y is equal to x. So you can see that they are mirror images of each other. So now this was all about the sine uh, curve, and how did we get to know how do we make the how do we define the inverse of sine function. Now similarly students, now let us going to study the graph of cos function. Now you can see in this figure, this is the graph of cos function, and you can see this is also not 1 1, because this curve is if I take this line, say this line is cutting the curve at infinite many points. So that means at this point this value, this point this value. So many points of x-axis are giving you the same value of y-axis. So we get to know that this curve is also, that the cos function is also not the 1 1 function. So how can I make this function 1 1? Again the same method, that you can see this purple portion. If you restrict the curve only to this purple portion, then you can see that the curve is going to become 1 1. Function is, if you are restricting only to this purple portion, if the curve is only this much from here to here, then it is 1 1, because no value is going to be repeated. Or if you see, if the curve is only from here to here, that is z1, then also the curve is 1 1, function is 1 1, because no value is going to be repeated. And similarly for other branches also, if the curve is restricted from here to here, then also it is 1 1. Or if it is restricted from here to here, then also it is 1 1. So now again we have to restrict the domain of cos function to define the cos inverse function. So it was decided, it was accepted universally by the mathematicians, that if the domain of the domain of cos x will be restricted to, as you can see, this portion, this one, this blue one, that is from 0 to pi, and you can see this is the graph of cos inverse function. So now here also, once the graph is reverted, this is the principal value branch. This is lying from 0, between 0 and pi. You can see this point on x-axis is 0, this point on y-axis is pi. So if the graph is restricted from 0 to pi, or from any other branch, you can see pi to 2 pi, or you can see here from 0 to minus pi, or from minus pi to minus 2 pi. If you take any of these intervals, then the cos function is also 1 1, and therefore the inverse of cos function will be in this manner, that cos function was defined, cos x was defined from r to minus 1 1. But now cos inverse function has been defined in a reverse manner, from here to here, that is from minus 1 1 to 0 to pi. As you can see, we have restricted the domain of cos function. So cos x was defined from r to minus 1 1, was not 1 1, therefore cos x was redefined from 0 to pi to minus 1 1. It was redefined by redefining its domain. So the domain is restricted, and now it is 1 1. Therefore its inverse function, as you can see here, its inverse function was defined from minus 1 1 to 0 to pi. So this is how the definition, this is the definition of cos inverse function. So what is the domain of cos inverse function? This is minus 1 to 1, and its range is 0 to pi. Now let us study the cosec function. You can see this is the graph of cosec x. Now as you can see the graph, again you get to know that the graph of this trigonometric function is also not 1 1. As you can see, if you if you draw any line, it is cutting many times. The curve is going to be here also. If you draw any line parallel to x-axis, it is going to cut the curve many points. This, they are all in the same level. And if the portions of the curve are continuing in both the directions, then at infinite points, the line parallel to x-axis is cutting the curve. So this is also assuming the same value for many points of the domain. So function cosec x is also not 1 1. And one more thing you observe about cosec x is that all portion of cosec x is either above 1 on y-axis or below minus 1 on y-axis. Between the points minus 1 to 1, can you see these two purple lines? The lower one is at the level minus 1 on y-axis, the upper one is at the level plus 1 on y-axis. In this portion, you can see there is no portion of the curved line. I can show you. You can see this yellow portion. In this yellow portion, no part of the curve is lying. So we shall see what is its implication. So first we have to see that we have to restrict our domain in this case also. So what are the points? You can see the domain has been restricted from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. This is minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. This branch and this branch. If you take these branches of the curve, then they are assuming all the values once of the range. All the values of the range have been assumed only once. So now you can define the inverse of cosec x. Now we know that domain of cosec x is r minus n pi. That is whole r, but all the points where sin x is 0, they are at those points cosec function is not defined. That means at this point, at this point, at this point, cosec function is not defined, and therefore we have to subtract n pi from its domain, and its range is r minus minus 1 to 1. That means this yellow part is minus 1 to 1. This has been deleted, and this function, as we have seen, this is not 1 1. So now we have to restrict its domain from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So if I restrict its domain from closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, of course I have to delete the point 0 from it, and the range remains same, r minus minus 1 1. Now I can see that the cosec function has become 1 1, and therefore now we can talk about the inverse of cosec function. So now you can see cosec inverse x, this in pink portion. So cosec inverse x will be defined in a reverse manner from here to here. Cosec x was defined from here to here. Its inverse function has been defined in a reverse manner. So this is how we define the cosec inverse x. So you have to remember, this is the principal value branch. This is the principal range of cosec inverse function, and you can see this green portion. This is the principal value branch of cosec inverse function. Now students, in the same manner as we have discussed how we defined sine inverse function, cosine inverse function and cosec inverse function, in the same manner, by restricting the domains of rest of the three trigonometric functions, we defined their inverses also. So as you can study this table gives you the domain and ranges of inverse trigonometric functions. So sine inverse function, its domain is minus 1 to 1, and its principal value range is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 close interval. Similarly for cos inverse function, minus 1 to 1 close interval, we have already discussed about it. This is the domain, and 0 to pi close interval, this is the range. And for cosec inverse, right now I have discussed r minus open interval minus 1 to 1 is the domain, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and from that delete the point 0. This is the range. Now if you see the secant inverse functions domain, if you compare it with cos inverse domain, it is exactly the you can say complement of it. So the domains of sec inverse and cos inverse, they are complement of each other, and its range will be same, but point pi by 2 will be deleted from its range because cos pi by 2 is not defined. Its range is closed interval 0 to pi minus pi by 2. Why? We are deleting the point pi by 2 because cos function is not defined at pi by 2. And sec x is 1 by cos x. So 1 by cos pi by 2 will not be defined. And similarly, we have defined tan inverse function. Its domain is a set of real numbers and its range is open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. And cot inverse x, similarly the range is the domain is the set R of real numbers and its range is also the open interval 0 to pi. And students, you have to learn, you have to memorize this table by your heart. As you know, the CBSE has changed the syllabus for this term only. It has reduced the syllabus by 30% due to the coronavirus only for this year, and therefore the question is going to be asked only from the domain and range, and it can be asked in-depth question can be asked. So students, you please prepare all these concepts very well. Okay, I'll meet you in the next class with some more concepts. Till then, keep revising your concepts and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel.